Hi guys, it's Nancy here and I'm up with a layout for the GOGO Getaway Cybercrop that's running this weekend. And for my layout choice, I have chosen a colour palette, and this is the colour palette that I have chosen. So it's kind of a white, some two different sort of beigey crafts, and then two different turquoises. So that's what I'm going to be using as my inspiration. I pulled some bits out of my stash. I have this die cut that I cut on some kind of beigey coloured cardstock. So I'm going to use that as part of my title embellishments. I've got this kind of beigey wood grain I might actually back that with. I've got a piece of the Here and There crepe paper. I've got this piece which is from Jen Hadfield, and then I've got this piece of kind of faint sort of map paper, and this came from a Die Cuts with a View paper pad. So my plan is to start off with these. It will then probably go on a tangent. So I am just going to turn the camera off while I back this piece. I've just got to do a little bit of cutting it up because I needed to change my blade and I was getting a bit lazy and didn't. So I'm just going to get that done. But if you do head over to the Facebook page, which I will put a link down below, you can see more about the challenges. So I'm going to go and fill this and then I'll be back to do the rest of the video. So I've finished filling that in and I used the wood grain. I also found this chipboard globe piece which I must have brought a while back, and I thought that would kind of work with this theme as well. So I'm just going to be cutting down this piece because I'm going to use that to mount my whole layout in. But I'm going to be using that green arrow piece as my background because it kind of had the tones of that sort of teal turquoise that was on the colours. So I'm now just cutting the middle out. As you know, I like to gut the middle out so I can mount my photo in it because I just think that helps with consistency. I have mounted that photo on the background of a piece of 6x6 paper pad because I wanted a white border on it. Just so it stood out a little bit. And again, I'm just using some bits and pieces which are from different paper pads which I had around. I think they're both from a Studio Calico one. So I've pulled out that camera from a piece from the Here and There collection, which is what Emma sent me. So I've just pulled that camera out. I then got some bits from Simple Stories which I had lying around as well, which I was going to use. So I'm just kind of working out where everything's going to go. I decided to use that to add to my title, which is Let's Go on an Adventure. So I've cut the word adventure off, but I do end up using that on the page as well. So I've got these two different journaling cards which I'm going to place around my photo to help build up that cluster, and they've both got kind of photorealistic kind of pictures of beaches and palm trees on, which is going to kind of work. I end up going to be shifting out over that title because it's neither kind of over to a third or in the middle, so I am going to play around with that. I've also pulled a flare out of my stash, and that is Flare from Bramble Fox, so I've just pulled that one out. And as you can see, I've just kind of moved that title over a bit just to help it kind of read better as a sort of an L shape. So again, some different offcuts I've got here. I'm just working out how to place around just to help ground that layout. I do decide that I want to bring in a bit more of the white tones from my colour choice, and so I am actually going to end up using some gesso on that background, which is just going to push back those arrows a little bit. I have this cork kind of pink circle which I'm going to end up using on here as well, and I also pull out the Chamel stickers from Go Now Go, which are copper and cream. So I just pulled out my gesso and I'm going to gesso that chipboard piece because it's a little bit dark for what I wanted, but I'm only putting quite a light coat on, so you're still going to see the kind of chipboard sort of crafty brown through it, but it's just going to be slightly more muted. I said I've no idea where I bought that piece from, but as I found it in my stash I thought I'd get it used up. And that's what all the girls over on the GOGO Getaway Cybercrop weekend, we really are kind of focusing on using up some bits of stash that we've got. So I'm now just going to take some gesso and just rub it on the background again. I'm not being very precise. I've not watered it down because I don't want to warp my papers too much, but I'm just kind of knowing that this is going to go behind where the title is and my photo block. And it's just going to help that background not fight too much with what's on top. And as I said, I'm then going to just put this to one side to dry, because gesso does dry quite quick, especially if you don't use much water on it, but just going to leave that to dry up. I'm just going to clean down my wet surface. So once that's dry, I'm then going to start actually building up my layout. So I have mounted that up on my other piece of cardstock, and I'm just pulling out that roller stamp which I still had on my desk from a previous layout, and I'm just going to be stamping some arrows and different bits on the background just to add, again, it only very subtle, but it's just going to help to create a little bit of background texture but without any depth to the page. So now is my favourite part, which is then constructing it all, and how I laid it out previously it never ends up looking like, but you know, this is the part I enjoy, kind of then sticking it all together. So I am building a little shelf of embellishments out there to the side, which is going to just help me somewhere to ground my photo and layouts. So I'm just going to use these pieces just to mat around my photo. And I decide I want to layer that bit to the side, not the top, because I know that's where I'm going to have my title. So as you can see, that chipboard piece has dried now. It's not as white as it was, and I really like how that looks. And I'm now going to just work out exactly where I want these bits to go. I'm going to use 3D foam pads just to stick up my title, because of course that chipboard does bring a little bit of depth to the page, so I'm just going to want to make sure it kind of sits as flush as possible. So I'm just going to put those 3D foams to the top of my title piece. So I'm happy kind of with how that is, and I decided to just stick it down and go over it, because of course the title is the biggest bit on the page. It's bigger than the photo. And this is just a photo of me paddling in the sea, and to be honest, I've got hundreds of pictures of my feet sort of paddling in the sea when we go different places. And so this is just going to go in the album as just kind of a, it's not got a massive story to it, it's just kind of one of those photos that we take normally when we go away. So from that Chamel paper, I'm going to bring in these clouds, and I struggle a little bit with cloud shapes, to be honest, because I always find the clouds have a direction, you know, like the way that they seem to be moving, so I do struggle and move them around quite a lot. I've also pulled in a arrow from the top there, which is going to echo all the arrows in the background, but it's also going to bring that copper and cream up to the top there and it's going to be somewhere to base that part of my title. So I'm now just cutting around those, leaving a little bit of the map kind of border around there. Again, just going to stick that up on a little bit of 3D foam because of the dimension there is in that title. And just going to then stick that little subtitle bit there. So I'm now working out where I'm going to build up this cluster. And I decide I kind of have two parts, so I need another part for where I'm going to build out another embellishment cluster there. And so I do it to the side of the title there, and that does become quite a big, bigger embellishment cluster than I really planned, but I like how it looks. So I'm now just going to be sticking down, so I do end up using the other part of that card which says the word adventure, and I don't mind repeating words on the layout. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. So I'm just going to be tucking that camera in, and then I've got that pink circle cork piece and also a little flare badge. And originally I was going to stick the flare in the middle of it, but then I decided to move the flare down so it kind of overlaps the camera a bit more. I'm going to place those cloud stickers behind there. I'm going to keep coming in with pop dots just so everything sits quite evenly. So then pulled in a sticker sheet which is a crepe paper one, and I've got some different ones here. I've got some pink paisley, different bits and pieces. So this says take your own path, and I thought colours work fine, and it kind of fills in, there was a little bit of a weird gap there, so I thought that's going to work fine. And now I'm going to start working to that cluster side. I'm going to keep moving it around, going, do I bring it to the bottom, do I not? I'll decide no, it definitely needs to be up there, and you're still going to be able to read the title despite it being over like that. So again, I'm going to bring in another little arrow, and this, as I said, is from a pink paisley chipboard sheet. I'm going to bring in a little heart that went with the colours. I've gone back to these which I used on a previous layout. These are pink Paige Evans First Collection chipboard pieces, and that one says heck yes, I think. So I decided to use that. I then use another little piece here which says take me away. So again, just building up, and I don't mind, I've kind of got copper and gold on here. I'm fine with that, it doesn't worry me too much. So I've started to build that cluster out there at the side. I'm really happy with how that looks. I've then got this, which is an Amy Tangerine, one of those kind of font thicker sheets. I'm going to pull the hearts off here, and again, just put one of those in each of my embellishment clusters. And again, just bringing in another level of sparkle, just so you know, you've not gone, she's used 3 different colour sparkles on it. I've kind of made it purposeful in that way. So I'm then just going through here. I've got some freckled fawn pieces. I was going to put one of those on, but it was just a bit too graphic, so I decided not to go with that. There's another little chipboard piece. I've got some stickers here from the Vicky Bouton sticker pad and stuff, so I'm just bringing those in, and that's just going to help ground up some of that embellishments. I've got a little ticket here which is from Go Now Go Chamel collection, so I'm just going to look at fitting those in. So I really love this colour combination. It's not something that I would necessarily always go to. And I actually found the colour combination before I thought of the papers. I know sometimes people find papers and then come up with the colours for the challenge, but I decided no, I'm going to choose colours that I like and then try and create a layout from that. And in doing that, I did use some bits and pieces that have been in my stash for a very long time. So as I said, I'll put the details down below for a little Cybercrop that we've got going. Oh, and I'm putting these Jilly Bean little wooden dots. They're like enamel dot shapes, but they're actual pieces of little wood. So they work with the colour, so I decided to use them on the page as well, and they've been in my stash for a very long time. So I'm really happy with how this page come out, and I love all the little details and embellishments on here. Really enjoyed making it. So do go over and check it out, as I said, and I'd love to see any layouts that you do with this colour combination. So thank you very much, guys, and I will speak to you all again very, very soon. Bye!